All aboard! Are you coming?
Where?
To the North Pole, of course. This is the Polar Express.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So, in case you haven't guessed it yet, today we're going to be discussing the book and adaptation of The Polar Express.
So it's the Polar Express by Chris, I want to make sure I get this right, Van Allsburg. Chris Van Allsburg.
We'd seen the movie before, but we hadn't read the book. I didn't even know it was a book. So, we got the book, we read the book, we watched the movie, not necessarily in that order,
No.
and now we are here.
With this book, then we've talked before about how shorter novels tend to make better adaptations, or maybe I shouldn't say better adaptations, but I think you're not going to see things missing. If you've read the book and then you see an adaptation, you're not going to say, oh, well, they cut out this character or that scene or whatever.
You're not going in with certain expectations and then getting disappointed when your favorite stuff is cut.
Right, right. So you go in with expectations, but it's less likely that they're going to cut things. They're more likely to add things.
What I was going to say is that I'm going to put on my screenwriter hat for a minute. Writing
Christmas hat on.
Oh crap! Writing an adaptation is difficult. Trying to capture the tone and as many characters as you can and as many story points as you can without it being like a 500-page screenplay. But with a short book like this, and I was noticing this when we read it, it gives the screenwriter more wiggle room, more actually not even just wiggle room, more room to play, where they can put their own vision into what they feel happened in the little empty spots between the scenes in the book. Yeah. So like when he gets on the train, they have hot chocolate, right? And they were able to put on a whole musical number about hot chocolate. And then there was a whole bunch of different little scenes that they added in that made the movie more fun to watch and more engaging for the audience, but at the same time, pretty much every scene in the book was also in there.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's kind of like this is your main story, right? Your main, what you want to happen. And then there's all those extra, it's like a meal, right? There's the main ingredients, and then you add those spices and you add those nice little touches.
And don't forget
dessert. It just makes it so much more than it originally was. Not that this was a great book, and it kept with the tone of the book.
It did.
Right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But the movie, I really enjoyed that too, and it had that magic quality to it.
Yes.
And they added characters, because they're really the only characters in the book were the boy, his sister, the conductor, Santa, and all the elves.
Yeah, and I mean they had the kids on the train with him, the other kids, but they didn't single anyone out. They didn't give anyone a name or personality or like a specific part.
Yeah, either all the children spoke at the same time, or they'd say, or one of the children said this.
Yeah.
Right?
And then even the parents they didn't have a huge role in the movie, but they had a bigger role than they had in the book.
Yes. Yeah.
right? Like they introduced them in the beginning and then had them at the end. But I mean, especially the end, the last paragraph was word for word in the book, like the closing, his little narration at the end.
Yeah,
There's another one where we
aren't the openings and the closings just like with a paragraph, right? You have your main point that you want to prove or whatever, or you know, with thesis or whatever, thesis statement, and then you tie it in at the end. So those are very important points to the story, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Like you've always said, Mom will come in, we're going to watch a movie or something, and Mom will say, "Oh yeah, I'll be in a minute." Yeah, she sounds just like that.
Yeah.
"I'll be in a minute." And 20 minutes later she's in to watch the movie, and Ellen is just like, as a screenwriter, she's like, "That's the most important 20 minutes, right?"
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, well, don't worry, I'll catch up." Oy. But one thing that we did say that we'd have to touch on, in the last video we talked about how, and I remember specifically saying, did Jim Carrey really have to play every role? Was that really necessary? And yet in this one, Tom Hanks plays many of the roles, voices many of the roles. Like it was what was it they called it? It was a motion capture. It was the first movie that was it the first?
Was fully motion capture.
Fully motion capture technology. And so they would have actors acting it out, and they would capture that motion and put it into the animation. And so I thought that was really cool. Tom Hanks apparently did the voices for a lot of them, and I kept trying to, like, I heard his voice in the hobo, in the conductor, of course, in Santa, in the dad, but I couldn't hear it in the little boy.
I found the credits very confusing, to be honest, because, and I pay attention to the credits. It was very confusing because it would list different people that all played the same character. So I think part of it was voice for one, one person did the voice, one person did the motion capture, like acted it out or however that works.
Yeah.
Another person, I don't know, did something else, like singing, maybe some of the songs, right?
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks did a lot of the characters, but I think they hid him in the character. You could see his expression, right? You could hear how he speaks, his voice pattern. He did a really good job with the voices. As the actor that he is, he took on each character. He became that character, and he did them really well. I actually enjoyed, recognizing, wait a minute, is that Tom Hanks doing that character as well?
I figured it out. He's the hero boy, because the hero boy is narrating from when he was an adult.
There we go.
Guy that plays the know-it-all boy on the train, oh my gosh, looks just like him. Well, it looks just like he would look as a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? All the characters, I guess that's the great thing about the motion capture. That they film these actors playing these roles, and then they can animate around their features. And it was really well done. They kept the warmth, they kept the humor, and
they kept the heart.
They kept the heart. Yes, it was animated, but there was scenes that were like, she loves roller coasters. I do not like roller coasters even a little bit. And they were basically on the equivalent of a roller coaster in some of those scenes, and they're whoosh, going right down, and I was like, oh, that would so not be me. That would be like a dream come true for her, it'd be a nightmare for me.
It reminded me of the Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland, because with that one, when you're coming up and you're going over that first hump, to go down, it looks like there's no track underneath you, and that's exactly how it looked when they were going down a couple of those slopes. So that was really that was really cool. Okay, so this story has nice bones, and I like how they recognized that, and then they built on it, and they kept with the story, and they just ran that story all the way through. But they also added some really good stuff. Like they added characters. There was the hero boy, hero girl. there was the know-it-all kid, and there was the lonely kid, right? And I think it touched on a lot of the different reasons that kids start having issues with Santa. You know, with believing. You know, well, I think with the hero girl, it was more that she was having a hard time believing in herself, but maybe with that, like she was a leader in the making. So there was a lot of storyline that was not in the book, that is in the movie. I would recommend both.
Yeah.
I thought they were both great.
I think it'd be a really cool study to read the book and then watch the movie for the first time and see all the extra scenes that they added in. And the screenwriter did a really good job.
Yeah. I'd say it's probably somebody that appreciated the book.
Yeah.
You know? And it did win awards. An award. I would recommend reading the book first and then enjoying the movie after. When I said that this book was written by Chris Van Allsburg, it's also illustrated by him. And they kept really close to the illustrations for the movie. Like there was a part with the ticket and the ticket got lost and it was blowing through the air and all of this. And it helped string you through different things. Like you see how the ticket is flowing through along beside the train. So that's when you see the wolves and you see the hills and you see the valleys and it actually draws your eye to those things. Instead of just showing those things, there's an action going on with it. So especially for children, it's going to draw their eye and let them experience that without even knowing that they're experiencing it, you know. And the music I enjoyed. So also with this book, you can get a free download of Liam Neeson reading the actual book, which I haven't listened to, but I'm looking forward to it.
So he's basically saying that this is based on a true story.
Yeah.
An actual event that happened to him, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So a great story, a great read, and I think it's a great bedtime story because with the movie there's a lot of excitement in that movie, right? And you're wondering, what's going to happen? How's this going to turn out? With the book, it's still really nice, but there's a calming through it, you know, so you're not going to get your kids all...
Yeah, they won't need an herbal tea after the book.
Yeah.
They might after the movie, or you might. Capturing the tone of like a very soothing book while still being an engaging, exciting movie to watch was, yeah, that took skill, and they nailed it.
So I enjoyed it. I'd say 2 thumbs up for both the book and the movie.
Yep, me too.
Very
5 stars. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's always been one of my favorite Christmas movies to watch. Well, really, let's be honest, any time of year for me, but especially at Christmas. That's our verdict on this adaptation and book. 5 stars from me. 5 stars from her. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you liked the movie, if you knew it was a book. I didn't know it was a book before doing this adaptation series. Just what you thought. If you enjoyed all the same things we enjoyed, if you caught something that we didn't catch, that we didn't mention, let us know in the comments.
And if you have seen The Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey in it, and you've seen The Polar Express as well.
Oh, and if you want to see our thoughts on the Jim Carrey version of Christmas Carol, you can click here.
But if you've seen both of those movies, tell us what you think about how, I mean, both of them had leads that were playing a number of roles, right?
Yeah, and the computer animation. And capturing emotion and things like that. Let us know what you thought. If you disagree, feel free to weigh in the comments. If you agree, feel free to weigh in, of course. But, you know, people who disagree are a little hesitant to say so. But, you know, we want to hear it.
Yeah, I'd like to know. And you know what? It's good to hear other people's point of view about things. You can see
might even change our minds.
Yeah.
Probably not with the Jim Carrey one. Or with this one. But you might. There's always a chance. Or we might just agree to disagree.
It's fine too.
It is, yes. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please give a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. and that lets YouTube know that you enjoyed it.
Smash that bell for notifications. Dude.
Yes.
Smash it.
Smash it. Thanks guys, have a great day, stay happy, healthy, and safe.